Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the show. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. All right, guys, I've got a very important video for you today. This is going to get you ahead of the competition. We're talking about sleepers, okay? Now, I know everybody wants to sit around and talk about the top picks, the guys at the very top, the guys who are going to lead fantasy in points, but we all know who those guys are. So I always recommend spending more of your time researching sleepers. So I'm going to be doing so many sleeper videos between now and the time the season starts, talking about players that are going in the later rounds that are going to get you ahead of the competition and potential league winners. So I'm going to start right here with the first player on my list, and that's Jaleel McLaughlin. Now, this is a guy who you look at him and, 5'8", 187 pounds, absolute tank, 4.5 40 times, so he's got solid speed for a guy that size. And, you look at last season, 5.4 yards per carry on 76 attempts. This is a pretty decent sample size for, running the ball for 5.4 yards a carry. That's obviously tremendous yards per carry efficiency. Actually so good that it's not sustainable over the course of a career unless you're Aaron Jones or Nick Chubb. But the fact of the matter is this dude was incredibly efficient last year. He also had 5.3 yards per touch. So whether it be the run game or catching the ball out of the backfield, this dude is incredibly efficient. It's a telltale sign of being a good back. I think that Javonte Williams still isn't probably 100%. Do I think that Javonte Williams himself sees a little bit of a bounce back this year? Yes, I do, because he's another year removed from the 20 ACL, and he's a very talented back. But Jaleel McLaughlin is going to be heavily involved in this backfield, way more so than people think. This dude is a sleeping giant, and he's a potential league-winning sleeper. You've got to grab this dude in the later rounds. Next player on my list is going to be Brandon Cooks. Now, this is a guy who you look at last season, and he's still getting targeted downfield, 13.2 average depth of target. So they're still not only throwing him the ball a lot, but they're throwing him the ball downfield. He had 8 touchdowns, which matches his second highest touchdown total in a season of his entire career. He obviously functions very, very well in this Cowboys offense because it's an extremely explosive offense that plays at a very fast pace. It's a top 3 overall projected offense in the NFL. CeeDee Lamb isn't happy with this contract. All signs are pointing towards Brandon Cooks exploding this year and having a monster season. If CeeDee Lamb decides to hold out and not show up for training camp on time, look for Brandon Cooks to absolutely light the league on fire. He's going to be the wide receiver 1 in this offense if CeeDee Lamb isn't able to step on the field in week 1. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen, but there is a chance that he misses training camp and isn't really functioning at 100% going into the season, because we know that players that miss training camp typically don't show up at 100%. So look for Brandon Cooks to explode in this offense this season. Next and final player I have on my sleepers list here for you guys is Jaden Daniels. Now, we've got a guy here who is so slept on, it's ridiculous. I mean, we've got elite rushing upside. We've got a plethora of weapons. We've got a quarterback who is an incredible pocket passer. I mean, this dude has some pretty serious upside this season. I mean, we look at, he's got Terry McLaurin to throw the ball to, the addition of Ben Sinnott, Jahan Dotson, an elite pass-catching back, and Austin Eckler out of the backfield. This offense is absolutely loaded. Everyone's sleeping on them because, well, we haven't seen this offense be very good in a while, but they haven't had a quarterback like Jaden Daniels in a while. The biggest thing that this team hasn't had, in pretty much comparison to every other NFL team for a very long time, is a legit quarterback. It's the entire reason that Terry McLaurin hasn't had the fantasy career that we've all wanted him to have, but now he has an elite pocket passer in Jaden Daniels, a quarterback in Jaden Daniels that has elite rushing upside. Look for this offense to explode and bounce back in a major way. Jaden Daniels is one of my biggest sleepers this season. Grab this dude in the later rounds if you want to win. All right, guys, get ahead of the competition. Grab these sleepers.